Welcome back to another Plasticon review. Today we're going to cover Robotmasters Skyfire, aka Jetfire. This is Skyfire in his robot mode. And if you guys are really familiar with this mold came out during Generation 2. This is the same mold they used for that version of Jetfire. They used it for Hooligan. I think that was the only two I can remember. It's really neat. It's very Valkyrie looking. This thing straight looks like some stuff out of Robotech. He does have a missile, and the missile would fit here in the hand, but sadly his hand kind of hampered there a little bit, and I had to glue it back on. But he does come with a transcoherent missile. It was pretty cool. The articulation on him is all ball joints, so you're going to pretty much get a good range of articulation out of him, which is nice. This is one big reason why I'm a huge fan of these molds, and how when these came out in Generation 2, these really kind of cemented things for me when it came to articulation out of a very simple transformation. Love it, always will. Ball joints to me are sometimes the best. I do know some people like soft ratchets. I don't mind those either, but if they hamper the transformation, I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, he does happen to have his head on a ball joint too, so his head does move back and forth. And speaking of heads, he's got that nice blue visor going on there. It's got a lot of very G1-y Jetfire deco going on there. I do like it a lot. It's very cool. And turn around to the back. He doesn't have a whole lot of stuff hanging off the back. All he really has is these back wings, which is nice. That's one big reason why I love these, because these guys look like a jet that turns into a robot and doesn't have a bunch of junk just hanging off of them. So I'm a big fan of that on these. As you can see, there's a lot of detail there in the back too. We'll take a closer look at that when we get him in robot or get him in jet mode. So, turn him into jet mode, you just pretty much lift this up and kind of get this up out of the way. This will all kind of click into position. And then these, you'll take this one here with the crazy arm, fold it to the back, and then kind of orient it between the rear portion here. You have to kind of put it in that little enclave there. It's kind of cut out. And then this will actually fold over and peg into a little hole in the very back. So it kind of just sits there. For this part, fold it in, and then this actually has a little tab here sticking out, which will go into this little hole, just like so, which gets that up out of the way. And then you'll fold this whole portion here over, and it will fold in over kind of under the kind of this under portion here. And then as for the feet, you'll rotate them, and there's little pegs here that will fill in these little holes. And you do the same on the other side. And sometimes they're kind of a pain to put in, but that's okay. I expect pretty old toy. Robotmasters has been around since, I think it was like the early 2000s, so it's definitely one of those lines that isn't an easy one to get hold of. But anyway, there we go. Kind of click everything here in position. There we are, nice and flat. That probably was the reason why I was having problems with this one. It was. There we go. There you go. Now he's got his big old boosters there in the back. And there he is. In aircraft mode. He looks amazing. I don't know about you guys, but this just looks sick. Big fan of this. He does have wings that do fold out. They will go all the way up like this if you want to, which kind of gives him a really strange look. You don't actually have to push him that far. You can just kind of push him about there, so it looks more natural. But it does. It straight looks like, you know, a Valkyrie out of Robotech. And I love it. He does have landing gear. Sadly, mine's missing one. But he is supposed to have 2 landing gear in the back that come down. You don't necessarily even really need to use those. All you really need to use is the front landing gear. And then he'll sit successfully down on the ground like that. And he looks really nice. It's a very, very neat little robot. I am such a fan of these. These are my jam, always have been. These are some of my favorite molds out of Generation 2. I'm a big fan of the Cyberjets, and this mold never gets old. They can repaint this thing in any color. I mean, they had in Hooligans colors, which was orange with tiger stripes. I mean, they could do anything with this thing. They could splatter paint this thing and I wouldn't care. I'm such a fan of this mold. This mold's amazing. Always has been. I really kind of wish it would have a resurgence and come back with something very similar to this, but I do like it. It's not really a whole lot of parts here, which doesn't make any sense why they don't go back into this, but some people, I guess, are fatigued from the mold or whatever. I don't care. Like I said. And in Universe, I do know they did another version of, I don't think it was Jetfire. I think they named him something else, but he did have him in Universe as well as the other 2 Cyberjet molds. Very neat. Very awesome. Love this guy. And the missile does fit in the back here. Like I said, I'm not going to push it in between the claws here because it's supposed to be a flick fire, and I had one of the claws snap. So I glued it back, and I was like, yep, I'm just going to let it sit on there. That's fine. I'm good with this. Doesn't need to do anything else. I mean, I could do this. I could fire it off. I mean, it doesn't necessarily even need that flicking thing. The flicking portion, I think, to me, is just to stow the missile so it doesn't fall out. But I mean, I could still fire it pretty good just by doing that. So it's definitely one of those things. If you guys happen to try to find these guys, you don't want to actually shove the missile in, because this big lump here, if it's not sanded down properly, it's probably going to cause breakage over time on these. It just happens. And if you notice, this one's a little yellowed. That's okay. It happens. I don't care. He's awesome. He's going to sit on my shelf, and I love him. Anyway, this has been Plasticon. This has been yet another crazy Transformer review. And I'll catch you guys around later, because I have plenty more coming your way. That's it for now. Bye!